today's edition of Cracking the Cryptic on a roasting hot day here in the UK. It is very, very warm. And today we're going to be having a look at the puzzle on the screen, which is called Spire by Ambrose. I'm not sure we've ever done a puzzle by Ambrose before. And Spire is a word that, as a StarCraft 2 player, fills me with a certain amount of horror. I play Terran, and Spire, of course, is a Zerg structure, and therefore something to be feared quite greatly. But I think this puzzle is meant to be approachable, actually. I hear news that Codec himself really liked this puzzle, so I think we should be in for a treat, and it's not supposed to be brutally hard, so if you're new to variant Sudoku, it might be a good one to cut your teeth on. Do I have any news today? Not really, just an appeal, I suppose. If you do enjoy the channel, please like the video, please subscribe, we really appreciate it. Please tell your friends about us as well. We get emails, well, we probably get 4 or 5 emails a day from people who suffer from a variety of mental health issues, and they claim that these videos help them. They take them out of the the stresses and strains of normal life and seem to do some good in the world. So that is something that we're immensely, I suppose, surprised by, but also proud of. And we're sure that if it's true, we could help more people if the word was spread. Also, of course, we've got Domino Sudoku, our new app that is out on all platforms, so do check it out. We've been loving the reviews that's been getting. It's full of handcrafted puzzles, of course, from some of the world's best setters, so definitely worth checking out if you don't have it already. Now, let's get on with the rules of Spire. They are as follows. Normal Sudoku rules apply. In cages, digits must sum to the small clue in the top left corner of the cage. And there's nothing here about... Right, we haven't got the usual rule about digits not being allowed to repeat within a cage, because actually, look, these are all, apart from this cage, which is entirely within box 5, we've got dominoes. All the cages are dominoes, and therefore, obviously, a digit cannot repeat within a domino, because it will break the rules of normal Sudoku if you do put 2 of the same digit in a domino. Something like that will not work. Now, each purple line contains a set of non-repeating consecutive digits which can appear in any order. So what that's telling us is, let's imagine we worked out this cell here was a 1. Well, then these 2 squares would have to be the digits 2 and 3 to make sure that this line was a consecutive sequence. That's how purple lines work. Do have a go at the puzzle. The way to play is to click the link under the video as usual. Now, I get to play. Let's get cracking, and I'm tempted immediately to look at this 11 cage, because there is only one way of making 11 in 4 cells, and that's with 1, 2, 3 and 5. And that immediately, ooh, yeah, okay, so there's something going on here, because this is our purple line. Yes, okay, so you can't put, I don't think you can put 1, 2 or 3 on here. Because if you do, let's just think about this for a moment. If you put 1 on here, you clearly need 2 and 3 on the line, and 2 and 3 are in the cage. If you put 2 on there, you need 1 and 3, neither of which are available. If you put 3 on here, even if you use the 4, the other digits, then impossible. It would have to be 2 or 5, and they both live in the 11 cage. So that digit is a 5, and that means these digits are 1, 2 and 3, and this one's on a purple line as well. Yeah, so this definitely can't be 1, because then this digit would have to be 2 or 3, and that will clash. Now, if it's 2, I'm just wondering if this could be 4 and this could be 3. Yeah, okay, no, a better question is, what is this digit, isn't it? That's a sensible question, because this digit cannot be 1, 2 or 3, and yet must be consecutive with one of those digits, so it must be 4. But that still doesn't actually mean we can resolve what these... I don't know if I know the order of these 2. I have a feeling I might be able to tell that, but I can see that this square here, if we go 3, we can't go 5. Okay, so we have to, this has to be 2 or 3. And do we know which way round? Don't know. There's definitely a 1 horizontally in row 5. Oh, okay. And now, yes, okay. And now what goes on the 5 purple line here? We can't have 4 on it, so it must be 6 and 7. which means these two squares are 8, 9, and these are on other ren bands. So, okay, so one of these has to be a 9, and then its ren band will have to be completed with 8, 7, and 6. Right, this is going to get complicated now. So one of these is a 9. Its ren band will have to be filled with 8, 7. Let's imagine it was this one. If this is a 9, because these squares now have to be 6, 7, and 8, that square would have to be 8. So there is definitely an 8 in one of those two cells. Can I do anything with that? That's the question. Nothing immediately is occurring. I mean, the 8 on one of these is also going to have lots of high digits in it. In fact, this digit is... right, this is very clever. Okay. Let's now imagine this was an 8 and ask what goes into this square. Because if this ren band did not have a 9 on it, it would have to be 5, 6, 7, 8, and that cell would have no value at all. It couldn't be 5, 6, or 7, and it can't repeat the 8 on the line. So this line, the line with the 8 on it, is not 5, 6, 7, 8, and therefore it is 6, 7, 8, 9. And therefore this square would be a 9. So whichever one of these is 9 has 8 in one of those two positions, and whichever one of these is 8 has 9 in one of these two positions. So these two squares are an 8, 9 pair. And now I've got loads of high digits. Well, I've got loads of things going on now. I've got a 1, 2, 3, 4 quadruple here, which means this square. Well, we already know that both of these ren bands, for weird reasons, have to be 9, 8, 7, and 6. So we know that we've got 6, 7 pairs to complete them. And that is doing what exactly? This square is restricted. That cannot be 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or 7. So that's 1, 8, or 9. If it was 1, then again we would know these digits have to be 2, 3, 4, and 5. We always know there's a 5 on this ren band, because it's a 5-cell ren band. If you think about it, you're selecting 5 consecutive digits from the digits 1 to 9. So if we wrote the digits 1 to 9 in order and then sliced 5 of them somewhere, we'd always pick up a 5. And the 5, okay, right, I see. And the 5 can never go in the 10 cage, so there's definitely a 5 in one of those. It can't go in the 10 cage because it would be double 5'd. Okay. I'm not seeing what I meant to do with that. I'm wondering if I have to colour here, because I've got 6s and 7s on these lines that are different. So for example, this, well actually it doesn't do anything. Oh, for example, that cell can't be a 6 or a 7, because it must see both varieties of 6 and 7, because these are different, and this cell sees both of those. And similarly, the 8s and 9s have to be different. So maybe that's not such a bad idea. I will do that if you don't mind. I'm just going to do a little bit of colouring and see if we can see anything clever as a result of that. So let's colour these ones as well. So if that's green, and then we'll make those two yellow. So yellow has to be in one of those two cells in box 4. Can yellow be on the ren band? Then this cell would have to be 5, 6, 7. Or it couldn't be 6 or 7. It would have to be 5 or 8. I'm not sure. It might be possible actually. Orange has to be in one of two cells in box 4. Can orange be on the line? If orange is on the line, this cell has to be 7. It would have to be 7 actually. It would have to be 7. And therefore that would fix all my yellownesses. That's interesting. Right, okay, so if orange is in one of these two cells, if orange is on the line, this cell has to be a 7. I can't see what's wrong with that though, to be honest. That might be just possible. Right. So where I'm not actually spotting where I meant to look. This is going badly now. It's a very symmetrical puzzle as well. I can see where the symmetry is broken. The symmetry is broken here. There's no equivalent, and by symmetry, I'm imagining a line of symmetry around the middle of the grid going vertically downwards. You can see everything maps to itself, apart from this 9 cage, which has no equivalent on the left, and this 10 cage, which has no equivalent on the left. In fact, let's put in the options for that. This cannot be a 1 or a 2. It's not helping, though. Can I do better with this then? Is this somehow restricted in a way I'm not appreciating? Oh, yes, okay. That's a little bit interesting. We've got a 6-7 pair on this Renban. Now that cell does see this cell. So this cannot be 6 or 7. Which means this cell cannot be 3 or 4. And the same is true by symmetry here, because these two 6s and 7s see this square. So if... Oh, that's beautiful. Yeah, that's beautiful. So let's think about this. So if this was 1, it's very clever. It really is. Because 5 has to be in one of these two squares. I could hide a 3 or a 4. This Renban now has to be 2, 3, 4, 5 on the remaining cells. And I could hide a 3 or a 4 in one of these cells, but not the other, because the other would need to be a 5. Therefore, there would be a 3 or 4 in one of these two cells, which would put a 6 or 7 in one of these two cells and would break the puzzle. So this is not 1. So this is 8 or 9, and there are loads of high digits on this Renban here. Now, if this is 9, these would have to be from 6, 7 and 8. Which would mean these squares would have to be from 2, 3 and 4, but there's nothing looking at these squares. If this is 8, oh, I see. I've got it. Right. Okay, this is very, very good. Right. So whether this is 8 or 9, we can say for certain there are 6s and 7s in these cells. And if there are 6s and 7s in these cells, where are we putting 6 and 7 in column 5? Well, they've got to be a pair at the top. Isn't that lovely? It's really lovely. So these are now... Oh, this is it. So once we've got the 6-7 pair at the top, I've got a 1-8-9 triple at the bottom. And now how could I possibly put 9 on the Renban? If I put 9 on the Renban, one of these squares has got to be an 8, but we know the 8 is in one of these squares in column 5. So that's got to be 8 with 1 9 under it, and therefore I know what these squares are, because they don't include the 9. So they must be 5, 6, 7 and 4, which means these two squares are a 2, 3 pair. Now we can get rid of 5s from these squares, so these two squares are now 4, 6 or 3, I think. Ah, yeah, okay, this is great. And now using the logic again, we've got 6, 7 pairs looking at this, so that can't be 6 and that can't be 6 for the same reason. So now we've got a 3, 4 pair in the row, which means we've got a 6, 7 pair here, which means we've got a 4, 5 pair here. Which means these 10 cages now can't be 1, 9 or 4, 6. So these are 2, 8 and 3, 7 in some order. Which means the peripheral cells of row 8 are 1s, 6s and 9s, I believe. Still not doing very well on digits, but we are at least, I feel like we're making progress. Oh, I've got a 3-4 pair in this column, so that's not a 3. Okay. Right. Now, there's something going on with this domino now. Because whatever I make this one will bound this one's renban. If this is 6, that's 7. Oh, it doesn't work. Oh, it's lovely. Yeah, okay. If this is 6 and this is 7, one of those has to now be a 5 because it cannot be a 7, 8, 9. It can't be 6, 7, 8 on the renban. We're not allowed to use 7 on it, so one of these has to be a 5, and that's going to break the 10 cage. So that must be the other way round, which then bounds the 7 on the bottom side. It cannot have a 6 on its renban, so these two squares are an 8, 9 pair, which means these two squares are a 1, 2 pair, which means this square here is a 3, that's a 2. We get a 1, 3 pair in the middle. We're quickly running out of renbans and cages to use up. Oh, I've got 8, 9 pairs now. Oh, I've got quite a lot of pairs in columns 6 and 4. All the high digits are sort of paired up. These digits have got to be from 1, 2, 4 and 5. So this cell, which is a cage, one of the asymmetrical cages, either needs 8, 7, 4 or 5. That's, well, okay, I can get rid of 4 from that because there's a 3, 4 pair in the column. So this is down to 1, 2 or 4 now. Sorry, brief pause there. It's the school holidays, so interruptions I think are going to be more likely in the preceding days and weeks. What were we doing? We were just, okay, so I was filling in the 9 cage, and we were, okay, gosh, it's only been about 5 minutes, and I just get completely, right, I've lost my train of thought. So we had these nice colours, didn't we? We had the pretty colours and the 6, 7 pairs and the 8, 9 pairs. And the idea is presumably going to be that there are going to be cells like this one. Yeah, I mean, that's an interesting cell, isn't it? That cannot be 8 or 9 because it sees both colours, or 6 and 7. So what can that be? That's got to be 1, 2, 3 or 5. That one's slightly less good because it doesn't see both colours of 8, 9. But it does that. Is that logic the same on this side? It must be, yes. Okay, so that one is 1, 2, 3 or 5. These, I don't really like or believe that it can be something to do with those short stubby renbans at this point. Although maybe it could be, actually, because we are going to be able to limit the digits. We've got 1, 2, 3, so we've got to put 4, 5, 8 and 9 into these squares. This is getting very cluttered. I don't like so many pencil marks. So what can we put on the ends of these renbans then? If this was, well, that can't be 9 because this would have to be 8. So the same must be true on this side. So now if this is 8 though, this could be 7. So this cell does have the ability to be 7. But if this is 4 or 5, well, the only thing we can't put here is 4. So if this is 4, we could have 3, we could have 5, or we could have 6. I think that's every 3, 5, 6 or 7. But we can't get rid of the 6 or 7 from here because the 6 and the 7 colours don't see both those cells. They nearly do, but they don't quite. So this is not what we're meant to do. I'm not terribly surprised. I think these renbans are too short. So it must be something else. What else have I missed? Is it symmetry related? Is it... Yes, okay. Let's look at this cell. That cell sees both colours of 6 and 7, so that can't be a 7. So that, right, so now we've got a 2, 8 in this cell, which means that cell's a 2, 8, which means these cells are 3, 7 over on this side. Yes, beautiful. Right, now I'm just going to do the same trick again. That cell sees both colours of 6, 7, so it cannot be a 7. So that's 3, that's 7. That's 4 now, so that's 6. Here we go, we're away. Yeah, we are. Look, this is a 4, this is a 6. That disambiguates the 7. That disambiguates the 6 and the 7 over here. Now I can't have 7 on here. I can't have 6 on this one. I can't have 4 in any of these positions. There's loads of tidying up I think we need to do now. Let's get rid of 4s from these cells. 3s as well from this cell. So this is down to just 1 or 2. 6 now has to be in one of those 2 cells. 7 has to be in one of those 2 cells. And the 6, 7 here resolves the 6, 7 in the middle, but that's probably not going to take us forward any distance. Oh, okay. Hang on, how can that be 8 now? That can't be 8 because, oh, I see. Yes, that's lovely. Right, so this is 7. So now the option, I think we had the options at some point for this to be 8 or 9, and we said, 9 won't work because this will have to be 8. Well, now 8 won't work because we can't put the 7 above it. So this is 4 or 5. Which I suppose mean... Yes, and that tells us where orange goes in this box. Good grief. So this is now orange. That must be something. Does that do something? It actually does do something. Where does 8 go in this box now? Well, it can't go there and it can't go there, so it goes in the corner. And although we don't know whether 8 is orange or blue, we do know where it goes, which is a bit strange. That might have been no, it wasn't available for a while. I was just noticing I've got this 2, 8 pair here. That's a 2 by Sudoku, though, thinking about Sudoku for a moment. That can't be 6. So these have got to be from 1, 5 and 9, and that cell definitely can't be a 9. Okay, so what do we need to complete this row? 1, 5 and 9 again. Okay, I've got a 1, 9 pair in this row, so that cell has to be a 6 now. So there's a 6 in one of 2 places in box 3. Okay, and this is 4 or 5. I think this has still got all the options in the world. I may be wrong about that, but I'm not sure I see why that's not possible. And this one can be 7 because I haven't ruled, because this 7 obviously hasn't appeared in this box yet, so I can't rule 8 out of this cell. So I don't get the same sort of pencil mark with blue that I got with orange in box 6. That's weird. Okay, so now, where does 4 go in this box though? I can do that. That's got to go here. So 4 is in one of these 3 cells. That cell is now 1, 5 or 9. Doesn't seem to do anything. Okay, so let's take stock and say, I've got a 1, 2 pair in this column, so that can't be 1. Okay, so what can this digit be then? It can't be 1 or 2. Can it be 3? No, can't be 3 or 4. It's got to be 5 or 6, I think. if that's right, that's huge. I can see what that does immediately. Let me just check this. So this digit here cannot be 1, 2, 3, or 4. It could be 5. It could be 6. It can't be 7, 8, or 9. Now it is 5 or 6, and that's lovely for this Renban. Because if this is 5, that has to be 6 because it can't be 4. And then we'd have 3 cells in the grid that were selectable from only 2 different options. Well, to put it a different way, that's 5 and that's 6. This has got no value. So that's 4. And that doesn't mean we know what this is. But we do now know where the 6 goes in the box. It has to go here. So, hang on, what's that done then? So that's knocked 4 out of this cell. So this is 5 or 8, and this can't be 3 anymore. So this is 5 or 7. We're slowly getting to this, I think. 5 in this row is definitely in this domino, so it's definitely not there. So we've got the bones of a 1, 2, 3 triple as well. So if the, oh yeah, look at these 2 digits now. How could this be 5? This doesn't have the option of being 4 or 6, so that is 8. Which means that's, here we go, that's 9, that's 8, that's 9, that's 9, that's 8, and we're off and running. So this is not 8. This is 7. Which means, now I can just place 7 there, which gives us a 2. Which allows us to eliminate 2 from some cells. Eliminate, here we go, 3, 1, 3, 2. There's definitely a 1 up here, so this isn't a 1 anymore. Oh, we could see that by Sudoku as well. That's 9, that's 8, so that's 2, and that's 1 by maths. That isn't 1, so that's a 1 in row 7, which makes that 9, that 5. Which makes that 9. This a 1, 5 pair. This is going to crack, I think. Now 5 goes here. This is now a that's by Sudoku. This cell is 1, 2, or 3, and it sees 1 and 3. So it's 2, which gets 2 and 8 done. Gives us a 1, 3 pair here, which gives us the 5, gives us the 1. That's 5 by Sudoku, so that's 4, which means that's 5, that's 1. That's 4, that's 5, that's 1, that's 9. Here we go. Come on. Don't stop now. We've got 2 can come out of this cell by Sudoku. So this is a 1, 3, 5 triple. And we've almost done the puzzle. So hopefully it will just gradually let us understand its secrets from now on. So 3, 6, and 8. This is a 6. So in this row, we need 4, 5, and 7. So this is 4 or 5. Oh, no, it's not. Sorry, it's 4. It sees 5 and 7. So this is 5 and 7. There's a 7 here. So 7 here, 5 here, 3 here, 5 here by Sudoku, 3 here, 1 here. 2 gives us the 2 and the 1, and now it will crack. Okay, absolutely lovely. Do I think this was... It was quite tricky, actually. There were 1 or 2 spots in it that you really had to notice the correct things. I think it was definitely helped by the colouring. So I hope that those of you who are relatively new to this sort of Sudoku did think to colour, because it will have helped you. And that's a 9. 9 in the corner. No 3s in the corner, so no songs. What a beautiful puzzle. Yes, loved it. Very sweet indeed. Let me know in the comments who you got on. What did I really admire? I loved this stuff about the 9s and the 8s and making those 2 digits the same. And then it was really just a matter of spotting the 6s and 7s. And I started off with these cells, but it ended up being that cell, I think, which saw that pair, and then it just flowed from there. But I say it flowed, but there was some things we had to spot, like that this couldn't. Once we got this square was restricted, we noticed this couldn't be a 5, 6, and that wasn't trivial at all. So anyway, we've defeated the Zerg. Ambrose, thank you for that. Hope you enjoyed it. Let me know in the comments. I do enjoy them, especially when they're kind. And we'll be back later with another edition of Cracking the Cryptic.